Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist, Eli.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Our pro gamer, Mike.
We got brisk iced tea, best iced tea.
And our retro aficionado, Uno Clay.
I'm going to steal a page from Mike's book. Guess what I'm eating right here?
Is it Doritos baked 65% less fat barbecue flavored chips? That is not what I'm having right now.
No, you're listening to me have my first bite ever of Super Mario cereal.
Okay.
What a guy!
Excuse me, could we have an on-air review? I want to bite by bite. Actually, let's treat this like a Twitch stream. I want commentary bite by bite.
Well, we got
how stale are the marshmallows?
We got what we've been playing coming up, so I'll get back to you on that.
Oh my gosh, what have you been eating? Right. So
nice.
Before we get into that, let's start off with our Game of All Time tournament. Let me go back to last week's bracket. Well, it wasn't last week, it was a couple weeks ago. But the last one was Super Mario 2 versus Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. And Super Mario 2 won because everyone smokes crack. So, unfortunately... Okay, I couldn't even think of a joke. Anyway, this week's is Ocarina of Time versus Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy. So I'm not sure who voted in Ocarina of Time. I'm sure we all probably did, or would have anyway. Uno Clay, since you made the brackets, do you know?
I believe we established that Mike, in fact, put Ocarina into the tournament. So Mike will be defending Ocarina.
Okay, cool.
I don't even have to. I don't even have to defend it. Like, what are we talking about here? All right, can we just let's speculate. So, easy 4-0 and clap. All right, 0-4 watch, baby. All right.
So
who put in Theat Rhythm? Who put in this gem?
That was me. Of course. I had the weird games 4 weeks in a row. Jeez, ridiculous.
Well, I would have never guessed it was Matt with the theatrhythm rhythm, duodecium. All right, but
I'm sure this will be a classic UMBC 16th seed, up seeds, first seed scenario. Right?
All right.
Those sure are words,
let's
Eli.
get it on. All right.
All right. I'll start you off in 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't. Like I said, I don't have to say much. Ocarina of Time, everybody knows it. Is what it is. Greatest, one of the greatest, probably the greatest game of all time. End of statement.
Wow. With 20 seconds on the clock
you got 30
remaining.
seconds.
I don't got anything else to say. Honestly, everyone knows this game. I'll save it for when I need to.
It doesn't carry over. It's not vacation.
Oh, it carries over. It's an easy clap, bro. I don't even have to say anything. Easy clap.
All right.
Let's just all eat for the rest of the time. Everyone eat.
Thank you. You have 10 seconds to eat. I'm going to finish this brisk iced tea, and I'm going to have the more seasoned flavor baked chip right now. All right?
All right. Time.
All right. Let's. I guess I'll go next.
All right. Matt is defending Theat Rhythm. Is that how you say it? Theat Rhythm. Final Fantasy, the rhythm game.
It's Square Enix. Pronounce whatever word you want. They make up random crap. All right. So yeah, I'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. So crap. Let me start over. So the great thing about Theater Rhythm is what it does is collect basically every game in the franchise and distills it down into its musical components. So rather than say, oh, I want to replay this game or that game, and you spend 30 to 40 hours replaying it just so you can get those beats again, what's better than just having them all in one game, a whole entire franchise, and you just play a couple of songs and you get that classic feeling back. Basically distills the best moments of each game down into a minute or 2 minutes, and I really should have prepared for this better because I only wrote a sentence, and I guess that's my time.
Unprepared for your defense.
Oh man, it is a hard road to hoe.
Usually I find it easier to like write a note down for topics and then just do that, because if I write something verbatim, then I'll like gloss over it. But
Hachiman. I mean, Matt.
Eli, do you have a vote that you want to? Any comments you want to make about either game? Since these guys clearly, either ate their way through their defense or fumbled their way through their defense.
I believe so wholeheartedly that I don't even need to make a defense.
Okay, so all I'm gonna say is, I played both games, and I do appreciate Theater Rhythm. I love the game a lot, but like Ocarina of Time is kind of like on another level. So. That's about all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's a tough road to hoe. This is a bad seed for Theat Rhythm being one of the lower.
I wonder who I can blame for putting these together.
Yeah, no, it was random on this for sure. Like it wasn't a mission. I mean, it's an 8th seed, so it's going to go up against a heavy hitter, or it was a low seed on your list that when you put
David versus the Goliath, man. This is what happened, dude.
That's what happens. But I did watch some videos of it. I haven't played any of the Final Fantasy games other than the 8-bit ones, the very first ones. But the music is, known, even to me, an outsider somewhat to the series, known to be gorgeous. And I watched a couple of videos, and the music is really great. I can see the appeal. I think I'm in the great majority of people who kind of burned out on rhythm games of this type. But watching the videos, I was like, wow, it's kind of creative. Like, like the way it has like the party system, and, it looks real chibi and cute. And, the music was cool. I watched the famous like dancing scene that I've heard about, but I never played the game or whatever, and things like that. So can you, Matt, since you fumbled your thing, and I think we all are the votes are going to be pretty clear.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Maybe you take a moment to say, like, why you would like list this on a top game of all time, like even though its fate is probably sealed in this tournament or whatever.
That's a good question.
I mean, what hit you about this game that because I mean that's a statement to say this is one of my top games of all time, that I even knowing it's going to die against some Zelda or Mario title on a Nintendo podcast.
Well, to be fair,
I respect that.
Yeah,
I think the problem is I don't really do this much, so I kind of find it hard to like make what I think are the best ones. But also, like, a lot of these other games I would also vote, and I figured some of them would have been voted anyway, so I didn't like repeat ones. I figured ones would be on there, like Ocarina of Time or
right.
Mario 64 or whatever, which would have taken the spot. So I was like, okay, well, besides that, what are some other cool ones? And I don't know, I really just like it. I never really got into Final Fantasy before because I only had Nintendo consoles, so I never really got to play anything. And I forget why I picked it. I think there was a demo. And
oh god, it all comes to fruition.
Yep. I think there was a demo and I played it. I'm like, I like rhythm games. This is fun. And I never really like heard the music before because I never played the games, but I like the music. And when I went into the game and like experienced all these songs for the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like an insane soundtrack that I've been missing all this time. And even though I don't like know the exact moments, I think I still like stand behind my point that it's like, there's certain moments when you rewatch something, you want to rewatch or relive it because you want to like feel that same experience again. Like Spaceballs, I couldn't really watch all the way through again because there's too much breaks in between that like aren't funny. But there's so many funny segments. It's like, oh, you want to watch the highlights, right? That's essentially why you rewatch something. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. Example. Like all these songs replay, like capture a moment from each of these games. And you can like relive that in such a short span versus, sinking thousands of hours if you were to try to replay all of them, right? But
that's a really great point, man. I think Spaceballs sucks as an adult. I agree. I love that example because I'm like, God, this movie was so funny when I was a kid, and this movie is so stupid when I'm grown up now.
No, it's a great movie.
I like it. It's
to
just
reference, though. To reference.
I like it, but true. It's like all the good parts are like way too far apart. So it's like I don't want to sit through this so long. Which is why I don't really rewatch stuff or replay stuff anyway. But yeah.
That's a great point. I'm wondering if I might pick this game up sometime actually, because my 3DS sure isn't like off my radar, and it's like you make me you almost have sold me on it, like
nice,
in a way, because I'm like, I am never gonna play the Final Fantasy games. I'm pretty sure. Like if I did, it would be like I'd go to people like you guys and say, which is the absolute best one? Is it 7? Is it 13? Whatever.
Yeah, because there's no way you're playing through all of them.
Yeah, and then that's the only one I would play, and I'd probably quit on it like 20 hours in. I'd just be like, this is too fucking long. I don't want to play a game this long. Like, I'm just done with this. But the music for that series is like famously great. Like, I mean, the composer's name, who I can't recall for many of them, is known to be one of the all-time greatest game composers to most people, and I mean, that's a great point. It makes me almost want to play it. I just am kind of over rhythm games, because watching it, I was like, I love that this is unique. I love that it's kind of cleverly imitating the battle system of the 8-bit style, RPGs, and then like incorporating rhythm games and the music. It's a great hybrid. I really see what you like in it. I'm not gonna have the same reaction, I'm positive, when I play it, but I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll put this on a list to pick up sometime for cheap if I see it somewhere or used or something. And so
it does have a pretty challenging difficulty. So
yeah,
if you think it's like easy, it's like that's like the easiest one. They made a sequel which I think had like 90% of the songs from the first game plus more. So if you were to pick up the other one. It's called Kirby Call, but yeah,
I saw that. I was confused by that when I saw that in the video stream, and I was like, is that the one he means? And I figured it wasn't, so I just didn't click on those videos. I was wondering what that was. Okay. So, all right. Well, I mean, are the votes clear? Matt, are you still voting for Theatrhythm? Going to stand with your boy?
I mean, I will, but it clearly went to Ocarina. I knew it was dead on the water, but I got to stick up for it.
Yeah. Eli, you're not changing your vote, right?
No. Sorry.
Yeah, I gotta vote Ocarina. Ocarina changed the landscape. We all know that. So, But I love that you threw that game in there. Maybe sometime we'll have to have a tournament down the road where we all do something like this, where we say, okay, let's all put in our most obscure favorites of all time. Where it's like, but we'd have to make a condition where we agree that we're all going to at least watch videos of them, because it's going to be too tough in a situation like that, because we won't have any crossover of like what we've played and what we haven't. If it's going to be like obscure games or whatever, it's going to be like, oh, well, I'm the only one that played it. How can I vote here? Or whatever. So, but neat. All right. Good match. Cool. Good match. Ocarina advances.
So we'll move on to what games we've been playing. I don't want to stick on mine long. I'll just say I beat The Fall Part 2, and unfortunately I forget the ending, so I'm not really going to bother discussing it. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to spoil it anyway, but
does that mean you didn't like it?
But no, I think I don't know why. I don't think it hit as hard as the first one, but I think it was still like a decent game. I'll be honest, like half the game I had to like look up tutorials for, because I was like, okay, I think I know how to beat this section, but then I couldn't figure out how, and it was, I don't know. Call me stupid if you want, but I don't think
I'll play it eventually. But would you say it's bad? Would you say it's bad design, or would you say you just weren't that invested in like spending the time to like really, really dig? Or it sounds like you're more saying it was a little bit of bad design, like where it's like the puzzles aren't quite solvable without cheating.
I mean, it's probably a bit of both. I'll be fair.
Okay. Yeah. But, I look forward to playing it. It's definitely going to be something to play eventually. So neat.
Cool.
Okay.
And I beat Kirby Star Allies. It's a Kirby game. That's about all you need to know.
Is anyone else playing that? I know Mike had to leave us for a second here. He had a conflict with the recording. Eli, did you play the Kirby game yet? Did we lose Eli too?
Yes. No, sorry. I was not. No, I actually ended up trading it in today because I finished up with it. I think I talked about it last time. I played through it in entirety with my girlfriend, and we had some fun. It's actually, I was surprised how long it was, to be honest. We did pretty much all the bonus levels and the main levels, and it was like a decently length Kirby game, considering how long Kirby games usually are, I'd say.
Weird, because everyone's been saying it's a bit on the shorter end.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
It took us like maybe, well, we got through all the levels. I mean, maybe we're going a little slower because, there were two of us and stuff, but I don't know. It took like 8 hours, I think, to beat.
Yeah, I don't think it was like too bad for length or anything. The last world is basically like 2 worlds anyway.
Maybe it took you a little longer because you were stopping to make out like constantly, and you were just like, Kirby's making me hot, girl. We gotta stop for a minute here.
Putnam Whipple, oh Kirby.
Inhale me and spit out my powers. Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, there's nothing that gets my jimmies going more than a pink puffball. When I see Kirby huffing and puffing in all that air and blowing it out, man, oh man, does it get sultry in here.
Pink balls give Eli blue balls.
You whisper sweet nothings. You're like, call me DD. Call me King DD. What are those little... Oh, you're my little Waddle Dee. I love you. Oh God, gross. Kirby love.
Gosh.
Does Kirby have a romantic partner? Does he have like a female love interest in the series ever?
Don't misgender him. Maybe he's not. Do we know that he's
true.
male?
True, fair.
He's a puffball. I mean, for a long time we didn't know anything about Birdo, So.
Right. Well, the information was there in the manual.
On the flip side, he is a giant testicle.
Or Toad, for that matter, right? Toad doesn't have a gender according to Nintendo, even though there's a Toadette.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't make any sense. They also said Mario isn't a plumber, and then he is again. So I don't know if they're not even reliable anymore.
I don't want to derail us too much, but I was really embarrassed. We were playing, it's video game related, so it's not that much of a derail, and it relates to what you're saying. We were playing Jackbox Party Pack with Fibbage the other night. I think it was Fibbage. It was one of the ones where you have to guess whether it's a truth or a lie. I think it's Fibbage. But and we're playing with my whole family, and up pops a question that says, the New York Times had to apologize. Let's see if you guys get it. Let's see if you guys know it. Because I felt really embarrassed. Everyone looked at me thinking I'm going to know it. It said, the New York Times had to apologize for misstating that Mario's chosen profession is what? And so it had multiple choices, and I could throw them out there for you and see if you guys guess it, unless you know it cold. Did you hear about this? Because I've never gone back and Googled it.
What
I heard something like this.
What were the options? I would guess
the choices were plumber, carpenter, union representative, or janitor.
Okay, I thought it was carpenter.
Yeah.
And that's
because union representative just sounds like way too.
I guessed carpenter as well, and so there must be something in the air about that because all three of us did, and then I was wrong. All of us got it wrong, and it was janitor. Okay. Yeah, apparently he was called a janitor. Yeah,
I mean, I guess I don't know. Somewhat similar because it's cleaning.
It's just a mistake.
Really. Whatever.
It was just a mistake, but everyone was like, "You didn't know it," and I was like, I definitely feel stupid because we are not only sitting here playing my Nintendo system, and I'm known to be the Nintendo guy right here. I didn't hear about this news.
I follow Nintendo news, not New York Times. So,
well, no, I mean, it's probably because we're chill. Because to be honest, lots of gamers probably saw it and then were commenting angrily and getting all pissy that the mainstream media doesn't understand their hobby and this, that, and the other.
The mainstream media is lying to you. The fake news says he's a union representative.
They're trying to make him out to be a commie Mario.
I'll be honest, I made that one. The other three were right. I couldn't quite remember what the fourth one was, so I made up union representative so that I'd have a fourth one, so you guys would have a real choice or whatever. But the other ones were real for real. Yeah. So I just couldn't quite remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, so I derailed us entirely. So Mario is a union representative. He's a commie, big Bernie supporter, fake news, New York Times. We got this covered. So Matt, you were saying you finished, you both finished Kirby. Eli sold it back and got twice his money.
That's
Matt.
That's funny because I actually sold Bomberman to get Kirby.
Oh, nice.
It's like, I'm
nice.
never gonna finish this game. I'm like, I don't even want to get through the first world. Forget it. I can get like, I was able to get like double credit for it, so I got like $30 for it.
Oh, nice. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah. So obviously, you think Kirby was a better investment than Bomberman?
Yeah. I mean, I could probably sell it back because I doubt I'll play too much more of it, but I don't know.
Sure.
I like keep playing games. Anyway, let's move on to Eli. Eli, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I mean, other than Kirby, gosh, I finished the last episode of Life is Strange, like the prequel series, and it was okay. It wasn't nearly as good as the first season was. So, but I'm still excited for the second season, which is, gosh, I don't remember when it's coming out. But one thing that irritated me though is the physical release of the game of the prequel had like a bonus episode, and it like included. But if you wanted to play the bonus episode and you didn't get the special edition, then it's $10, which is just kind of irritating.
Well, the game's like 20 something, isn't it?
Well, it's $15, so it's $5 an episode, and they want double that for the special whatever bonus episode. So not only is it like double the cost for a bonus episode, but it's like it's kind of disrespectful. Like, I put money into your game before, the episodes were out because I believed in it and I invested in it, And it's one thing, I get if you buy a game new, like obviously that game's going to devalue. But when it comes to something that's episodic and you're like investing in the series, I don't know, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
And it's not like the physical release of this was like 6 months later, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was slightly more expensive, but it's also physical, I think they're trying to...
Sorry.
I was going to say, I think they were trying to make it parody. I think it was maybe... $25 or something for the physical version, but still.
Can you, for those of us that have never played it, I don't know too much about it. I've heard the name around. What kind of game is it? What system did you play it on?
It's just a modern adventure title. So like, the Walking Dead series, how it works now, like that sort of thing.
Sure.
The Wolf Among Us, etc. And so the first series I thought was really great, like really affected me. The first episode was kind of cheesy, but episodes 2 through 5 were really powerful, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Even if some of the dialogue can be cringy, does go kind of slow at times, really enjoyed it. So this prequel version, it tried to do some of the, try to take on some of the qualities of the main series, but it just didn't do so nearly as effectively, and the story wasn't nearly as gripping. And because of that, it kind of failed overall. And a lot of the beauty of Life is Strange is a lot of the stuff is really mundane, but the story, because the regularity is mundane, but because the story is exceptional, it kind of fits into this beautiful puzzle. But in the case of this prequel, like the moment to moment is still relatively mundane, but the overarching story isn't tremendous enough to justify the moment to moment being slow and mundane, in my opinion.
Well, that was a very astute review, narratologically. So it's an adventure game. Is it a walking simulator adventure game? I'm just trying to picture it. I haven't seen it at all. Obviously, I don't know anything about it. It's like it's mostly narrative based, is what I'm picking up from what you're saying. It's a story driven game.
Yeah, it's kind of like you'll go, you'll be in an environment. It's really linear. You'll be in an environment. You'll go talk to someone. There will be dialogue choices and that trigger different responses. Then, you'll be able to take diverging relationships. There aren't really diverging paths because it's pretty linear, but the relationships you have with people can diverge. So at the end of the game, you'll see what percentage of people made the same choice as you, in terms of the relations you had with people, stuff like that.
You said there's a second. You said there's a second season. Is that to the prequel or the original game?
So it's a sequel to the original game.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, that'd be confusing if it's like, here's the second part to the prequel of the game.
Yeah. The pre-prequel?
Yeah, the pre-prequel.
And the thing is, it's a different studio. So this is Before the Storm is developed by a different studio. It actually is in Colorado. So I met the lead of the studio, which was kind of interesting.
Nice.
because I went to like this game development meetup in Colorado, and he was just there, and I'm like, why is he here? And they're like, well, the studio's actually here, and I'm like, what? Colorado is game development? And it's kind of mean because I know some of the developers that are in Colorado, so I know that we have game development, but I didn't know we had any like AAA,
Notable,
arguably,
yeah.
studio in Colorado. So that was kind of weird.
That's cool though. I didn't know Colorado had any game studios as well. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I know we have some mobile developers. I know we have a lot of indies, or a decent number of indies, and so not taking anything away from them. But Life is Strange is a Square Enix property, so that was just kind of surprising to me.
That's neat.
Well, coolness. It's Colorado, dude. It's always rad, bruh.
Well, it's funny because Colorado has exorbitant living costs. It's like number 4 now already in the country, and it's really, really expensive. But the alternative is California, which is the most expensive place in the country.
Yep.
So it's like no comparison. Like people, of course, would rather develop games in a market that's way cheaper, even though for everyone else, Colorado is super expensive.
Right. And as a well-traveled American, as some of us are here, I would argue it's one of the prettiest, coolest states to live in, even though that ship has sailed and all the locals will tell you, don't tell anyone else. It's too full of people already. But, heck with that. Colorado.
Yes.
So Nintendo going to Colorado, confirmed on
That's
this
true.
podcast?
That is actually kind of a joke. There's kind of this meme that goes around people who live in Colorado, and it's just like, oh my God. It's just like sarcastic reasons not to move there because everyone's tired of everyone moving in. And so it's like, the mountains are too pretty. Oh, too overwhelming for your eyes. Like,
That's
don't
true.
move.
It's so true. It's so true. It is so gorgeous there. And it's like, I can imagine if I'd lived there like 20 years ago when the waves started to happen, it would have been like, everyone shut up, like stop showing everyone pictures of this place. That's cool. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not even shocked that there'd be game developers there. It's like, it's the kind of career where you can live remotely and work in some cases, or why a studio would have at least one of their outposts there. So that's awesome. Well, good stuff.
Cool. Mike, have you been playing anything in the past couple of weeks?
Okay, besides Xenoblade 2, I feel like I beat a game, but it's been so damn long that I can't... Oh, wait, I remembered it now. If I just go on my PSN. So I played 2 seconds of Knack, and I was like, wow, this game sucks.
I played the demo.
I beat Mighty Number 9. I got the platinum. That's what
you played
happened.
that?
Yeah, that was a good game.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, dude. I
Did you
got
like
100% of it. Yeah, I loved it, dude. I platinumed it. So the platinum was actually a really funny story, but yeah, dude, freaking, it was free for PSN last month, and I was like, no way. I was like, I was gonna buy it on the Wii U or like the PC or something because it was like $20 or $10 or something, and I was like, well, it is free, so gotta get it. And I finally got to play it, and it was funny because Joey played it, and he's like, yeah, dude, I like the game. He's like, it's just called. He's like, it's speedrun the game. You just dash,
Yeah.
and I was like, dash. And I was treating the game when I first played it like Mega Man X. I was like, what the hell's wrong with my wall jump? I can't wall jump up, and I can't dash like midair and double dash. Then I just finally played it as it is, and I don't know. I really enjoyed my first playthrough. Then the mission modes were all right, and then I got mad at the game when I had to replay it. You have to beat the game 3 times basically. And then you have to beat the game again with the last mission 36 on 1 life. And then you also have to do a boss rush mode, which I was like killing myself for like 3 days because I had every trophy but those 2. And I just got it done at like 4 a.m. one night. And I was just like, F it. I'm in the zone. It's the only way I'm ever going to get it done. I beat the whole game on 1 life. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, dude, I don't know. I think it's a great game. I think people shit on it because it wasn't Mega Man. But if they went back and replayed it, I didn't find anything wrong with the game. Like, yeah, it looks cheesy, or like, yeah, we put a lot of money into it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So that's what it is.
That's interesting to hear.
Yeah, but I'll tell you how bad Knack is. That game, that game is dead inside. It's like looking at something that's just a hollow piece of shit. All right, like I played this shit. I was like, yo, there's a story to this. I'm playing it. I'm like, yo, this story's kind of interesting. Literally 10 seconds later, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to play it. I was like, this game thinks it's Ratchet and Clank, but it's not. Like they try to keep it like action RPG-ish, but I'm like, where Ratchet and Clank succeeds, this game fails. Like this game, yeah, it's got a story, but none of the characters are funny or awesome or relatable like Ratchet and Clank or Captain Quark or anything. And then I'm like, also, you don't really level up. You just get more of those stupid things, and you do the same moves, and it's like not fun. Like Ratchet and Clank, there's also a full world of exploration. You upgrade your weapon.
Now you start backing up Ratchet and Clank, but when I have to pitch it, you take
that's what it feels like it tried to be, like a 2.5D of Ratchet and Clank, and I'm just like, nah. And that was my expectations for it when I first saw it too. I'm like, this kind of looks like it, you know what I mean? And yeah, I was completely disappointed on that. Oh, I played Rhyme for like 20 minutes because that was also the other free game, and I forgot that I don't like those kind of games, so I stopped playing it. I was like, man, this is like Shadow of the Colossus, but on an island. And I was like, wait, I hate games where I can't fight back. I'm only exploring and doing puzzles. Like, this is like Zelda without my sword. F that shit. And then I proceededly deleted the game.
Ratchet and Clank asterisk not as good as Super Mario Brothers 2. We all know.
Yeah. I mean, technically, if you would have just said Ratchet and Clank Future, Ratchet and Clank To the Destruction, super good. Ratchet and Clank with the PSP one, which is my favorite one actually. It's actually the funniest one. I'm actually upset I can't think of the PSP one though. Ratchet and Clank PSP.
Secret Agent Clank.
Nope, size matters. That is my favorite Ratchet and Clank.
Oh my gosh!
I think we're at our best here.
It's your favorite, and you can't even remember the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can remember the two future ones, and I can't remember the size matters. Clay, you were saying I was the best? Go on.
I think we're at our best as a group when we bring things to the table like this, where we tell people about a game they don't already know is great. Like Mike is hilarious when he tells people that great games are bad. That's kind of your thing. That's like if you were a sitcom character, that'd be like your thing.
Yeah, cue laugh track.
Yeah, like Mike says Odyssey sucks. Like yeah, but
come on now, guys.
I'm just busting. I know you don't say that sucks, but like but like the fact that we can reconsider things, because like I'm in that camp of like, I always think the obvious example is like Other M. I don't think Other M sucks. I think Other M is an actually pretty decent game. It just wasn't the Metroid game people wanted, and that
it's a good game gameplay wise. I think it's just bad for what it did to right. Samus, but I think the game is cool. Like I enjoyed playing the shit out of it. I did not enjoy any cutscene. Yo, on a side note of that, before we go on, if we were to redo the GOTY today, I might put Mario Odyssey in it. That's how much I enjoy that game. Yeah,
it's great. It is a great game. It is a great game.
Yeah, Clay. You know.
I didn't like it. No, but I mean, when you bring something like that to the table, you're like, guess what? Mighty Number 9 got a bad rap because like I'm in that camp of people like the Other M haters who never played it. Like where I'm like, oh, I heard it sucks. I'm never playing it. It wasn't a good Mega Man knockoff. It sucks. It sold, all this Kickstarter bullshit, and then people hated it. And I'm like, I'm in that camp of the fake news there, where it's like, wait, Mike's saying number 9 is worth checking out sometime if I get it. Like okay, because that just rewrites history for people. Because otherwise, that game sits in that camp of like,
of hate.
Yeah, you go to GameStop and Other M is literally $7, like with the original box. I'm
assuming that's the same way for like Mighty Number 9. I don't know if it would ever went physical, but it's just like you see it everywhere like $10-15. And honestly, like I kept my expectations not to a minimum. I had no expectations for it. I was like, I just know I wanted to play the game. And you know what I mean? Like I didn't care what people said. Like, yeah, of course I read it, and of course I think everything they did was wrong. Like Matt, I don't know if you backed it, but like think about Matt. Matt's a huge Mega Man fan, and he's like, oh shit, he's gonna get it backed up. And then he's hearing all these things of promises before he even gets the game. Like, yo, we're gonna have an anime, and we're gonna have Mega Man Legends, And I was like, whoa, man, like I didn't even play the game yet. You know what I mean? Like, I just want I want to see if this game's good or not. Like they're already like planning it like it was already Mega Man and all that, which is completely unfair. Right. But
yeah, they kick themselves. There were legitimate Kickstarter problems to put it out there. So they did kind of like
right.
Inafune kind of shoved his foot in his mouth with a lot of things, but
right.
He bit more than he could bark. I forgot how his expression goes.
That's a good title right there. He bit more than he could bark. I just like hearing that. That's useful news to far more than the 4 of us sitting here. Like to hear that from you, because that's important in the game world because gamers are the most hate-filled, angry, quick to turn on a game, like group of people, turn on anything, a group of people you'll ever see. And I'm always like trying to push back on that. But then even I realize I'm guilty of it right there. I'm like, I never played the game, but I laughed when you said you played it, like before knowing, not even knowing, all right. So
yeah, I mean, look, don't forget gamers like today, like Eli puts out a review and I mean, yeah, he'll get backlash. I usually read Eli's reviews, but he doesn't give a Nintendo game a 9.9. But if a game gets like a 6, man, that game's dead for, let's say 75% of people. You know what I mean? Yep. Like the people who will buy it are fans of the series, fans of the producer or the company, and it's just like then it's got to get that second rap. Like, oh man, well I saw this guy on YouTube play. This looks awesome actually, or it wasn't that bad. Right. I mean, that's me for Metroid Prime 3. I hate that game. I think that game's worse than Other M. But you'll like people will laugh at me if I ever said that to their face. I'd be like, no, like I seriously think that Metroid Prime 3 is like one of the worst games I've played, like out of all Metroids, and I think all Metroid games are like amazing.
I found it very boring. I found it very boring myself. I've said that for a long time.
Yeah.
It was a map simulator. It's like I just have to look at the map every 10 seconds. That's all I'm doing in this game.
Yes, dude, that Skyworld, dude. I honestly, how many times I got lost? Like it was one of the games that I actually was so defeated that I actually had to play with a guy. Like I literally put my phone, I hung it. I got another chair, I hung it up right there, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like I didn't even bother looking at the guy for like the mission, like the missile stuff and energy tanks. Like I don't like doing guides at all because it makes me feel like I'm just doing what they tell me. But I was like, I can't play this game. I was like, I couldn't do it.
Yep, I felt that way about that. I think Prime 3 was like, I was just like, ugh, this is so boring. But anyway, yeah, we're really derailing.
I mean, Matt doesn't even like Prime, so he's like, nice.
Yeah. I don't even like Metroid, so.
But you're getting Metroid Prime 4, you son of a bitch.
Hey, I didn't say I'm buying it.
Oh man! All right. Well, anyhow, that's interesting.
I think that's a good point. That sometimes you just need to give games space to maybe not for the game to breathe, but for you to like relax before getting into it. Because like the problem with Mighty Number 9 at the time was it seemed like Mega Man was dead, and Inafune was hyping it up as like, hey, Mega Man's back. And everyone else like wanted it to be like the next Mega Man because like, hey, we're assuming Mega Man's dead, so all of our hopes are like riding on this game for this like series to come back. Yeah. And it's like if it's not like, I mean, there's general problems as well, but it's like if it's not like to the nines, it's like it's gonna get hit really hard. So
expectations ruin everything. Expectations ruin everything. It really does.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, if I heard a 4K remake of Ocarina of Time, it's like that's probably why Nintendo never does it. It's like you don't understand like how much expectations there would be. Like doing the 3DS remakes, people lower their expectations. It's like, okay, they're it's just for the 3DS, it's cool. And like they were like, yo, we're gonna fully redo this. It's like,
yep. Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. We're really going off the rails here, but I think you raised an interesting point. That could be one of the reasons, I'm sure there are many, they love the surprise effect because then you don't have the hype train getting too far out of the station. Like, they wait to show you what Switch is till it's like imminent, relatively speaking, that it's like, okay, enough time to let you know what it is, but we're not going to be like 2 years talking about how Switch is going to change the gaming revolution. And by the time it gets here, it's like,
they did that with Wind Waker. That's the best example you can think of. Like everyone's like, "Oh shit!" When they did that, the Zelda trailer. Yeah,
hating it years in advance. Like, look at this garbage. Like, look at
yeah, dude. I remember because I look at that. You go back to that demo thing. And you're like, "Yo, that demo is sick! Oh my god, this is what Zelda's gonna look like." And then you get Toon Link, and you're like, "What?" You're just like. I trusted you, Nintendo, and then like it's just then you play Wind Waker,
and then
you're like, holy shit, okay. You like to agree with me on that one.
I know, right? Yeah, that's one of our leading games in the tournament. That was like
that's one of the heavy hitters actually.
That is
Wind Waker.
Yeah, it is. All right, Matt. So we've derailed the podcast and taken up all the time.
All right,
the best part about the podcast. That's my favorite part. Derailing it, baby.
Derail it, baby, Barbara. I will forego what we've been playing this week to spend time talking about what I've been eating. as promised, live on the air. I've been eating some Super Mario cereal, my first bowl ever. I was super excited when I went to Target with my wife yesterday. I'm not a big frequenter of stores, but my wife needed some new pajamas. So I was like, all right, I'll go with you. And on a Sunday afternoon, if you promise we can have a beer afterwards. So that was the plan. So we went to Target. I suffered through it. But then once we were there, I was like, wait, honey, are we in a store right now? And she's like, we are. And I'm like, do they sell cereal here? And she's like, they do. And I'm like, let me go over here and I'll be right back. You continue looking at these pajamas that have catchy phrases and or flowers on them, and I'll be right back. And I found some Mario cereal. I was super pumped. I was like, dude, I'm getting it. I'm getting 2 boxes, and I'm not even joking. I'm doing an Eli. I got a box to keep saved, and I got a box to eat. And the box to get saved, it's going in the basement. I got a big.
I knew you would do that. I knew you would do that.
You better shrink wrap it.
Can you imagine on eBay in like 100 years? He's going to be funding his retirement with a box of cereal.
Totes. Hey, sealed 1980s Nintendo cereal fetches a fine price when the damaged boxes even come up.
Check that out.
Yeah, just make sure you don't damage any of the creases, man. I was disappointed from the taste of the cereal. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big marshmallow. I'm a 2-year-old when it comes to my cereal. I ate it, and I was like, yuck.
Well, here comes my review. I just ate a bowl, and I'm not gonna say yuck, but I'm gonna say if you're expecting the punch in the mouth that Lucky Charms marshmallows give you, you're not getting it here. It's a lot like Lucky Charms, but it's like I don't particularly think Lucky Charms is a great cereal. I think it's one of the classics, and I rarely eat cereal as an adult, but I ate the shit out of it as a kid. And I always thought Lucky Charms back in the day anyway was pretty okay. Like I like the flavor of it, sort of. Like, I mean, the what do you call it? The little pieces that aren't marshmallows have almost no flavor. They're kind of like boring Cheerios. And then like the marshmallows here, the best part, I would say, other than the amiibo I'll get to use when I get Mario Odyssey or whatever, like the best part was opening the bag, because there was a really big whiff of this like strawberry sort of scent. Like when I opened the bag, it was like a punch in the face of like smell, and I don't have a very strong sense of smell, and I was like, whoa, this is going to be really flavorful. And then that was a bit of a letdown because it was kind of bland. It's kind of bland. Like overall, I didn't hate it, but it was kind of bland. So
on point, my man. And trust me, Clay may be the old. You'd be like, Clay's an old man. He don't like sweets. Bitch, I literally eat like Count Chocolate, like marshmallow cereal all the time, and I was very disappointed. All right, so don't chalk it off to that. All right, I'm backing you up, Clay. I got you, man.
I got you. I'm not a big cereal guy. I would be if it wasn't so damn bad for you. Like cereal is basically sugar dessert. So I would eat it more if it wasn't. But it's like, God, this shit is terrible for you. You read this box for like 7 seconds, and you're like, oh my, I should not eat this on any planet. Like, this is bad for me.
I need to ask. Has anyone tasted a Switch cartridge? Is this the same taste?
Oh yeah.
I don't. Is this the same? Is this Switch flavor? I mean, is this Switch cartridge flavored cereal? Because then I'm like, why did people lick their? If it tastes like this, I question many people.
I licked my Switch cartridges. Did you guys? I did. I wanted to try it.
I never did. I'm too much of a bitch, but
it's bitter. No, it's very bitter. It's like, it's gross.
From what I've heard, it's basically like the stuff you use for pets or dogs if you don't want them to bite on something. Like you spray that kind of bitter stuff on it. So I'm like, no thanks. I saw my dog react to that kind of stuff.
The same day, I ran to my Switch. I not walked, ran to taste it. I was like, I want to taste it.
You should have unboxed it like at the place you bought it and just licked it in front of them.
Oh man!
Be like, this doesn't taste good. Be like, I want a refund. No, this isn't. This doesn't taste right.
Yeah. No, this was like, if I gotta say, like, also the other thing about this, like, to finish my review of the cereal, like, the box is very thin. It's like, I didn't really stand around and compare it. I should have. I was too excited, like, to grab not one but 2 boxes off the shelf and run back to my wife, who was, shall we say, less excited than me that I was buying 2 boxes of this kid's cereal with Mario and yelling loudly about it in Target. And I'm like, you're buying pajamas. Like, how are you judging me? And she's like, because pajamas are functional and you're buying kids cereal. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine. But like, Yeah, no, I like it's a thin box. I'm used to that big old box like that you get back in the day, like where it's I don't know, maybe they've downsized it or something these days, but it's not very much cereal. I'm gonna be able to eat this in like maybe 5 bowls worth of cereal, like big decent sized bowls. Like I'm like it's gonna be gone, and that's that, and that's that. So I don't know. It was cheap. I think it was like $4 a box at Target. It's maybe $3.50 even or something. So. It's like a collector's edition size maybe or something. I don't know, but it's all right. It's a cool box. It's got Mario on it. You've seen it. It's got Mario.
Hey man, it's an amiibo. Excuse me.
An amiibo.
It's cool.
It's an amiibo. It sure is. It's an amiibo.
That's the important
thing. Did you use the amiibo? Did you power it up?
No, I actually didn't because I didn't have my Switch. I ate it in New York. Okay. It was during like Christmas, and I was like, damn. But then, was it like only gives you like 20 coins or something? I forget, right? I don't remember.
It's a scan here. It's got pictures of coins there.
Gosh. Okay.
I think it only gives you like coins, like 50 coins or something like that.
It says unlock special content to power up your Super Mario Odyssey adventure.
We'll find out right now with the power of Google. Amiibo cereal. There we go.
It's also got a pipe maze on the back because you can do a pipe maze. So you got your classic little activity on the back of the box.
All right, so just to let listeners know, Eli had to leave. He has things he had to do.
Bye,
so he's gone. So,
bye, Eli.
Yes. All right. I think
so. Anyway, that's my review.
Yeah, that's my review. Move on from crappy cardboard
what's in the news,
cereal.
Bro? What's in the news?
I think it just gives you like 5 coins, dude. Or like 10 coins.
It's the same as any other amiibo.
Yeah, that's it.
Boo! I'm going to return my cereal.
Yeah, it turns into cereal, and Bowser can't hit you. Right?
They should make
the game for you.
They should make a Labo amiibo and then have like Smash, and you have a cardboard box, like fighting beside you.
I'm going to try and take my my box of open cereal back to GameStop and trade it in for credit. I'm going to see what they say. I'll report back.
Like, there's a Nintendo on it. I get money back.
Yeah,
right?
Come on. Yeah, come on. I'm taking this back. All righty, man. Well, we've been off for a couple of weeks. Has there been any news in the couple of weeks we've been gone?
No, actually,
Nintendo gave up.
But there are a couple of things we'll go over. The biggest one, which isn't even technically confirmed for Nintendo, but whatever. The Spyro Remastered Trilogy was announced.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
Baby. It doesn't say it's coming to Switch, but I mean the Crash trilogy is coming, so Spyro.
When does Crash come? I'm not. I already Platinum 3, but when's Crash coming? June?
Coming in like the summer or something.
Okay, and then for those who don't know, Spyro is for September. I rumored 21st right now, but it just says September.
I think they already gave it a date of like the 4th or something.
Did they? Awesome. Yeah, Clay, obviously you probably missed it out during the beginning of PlayStation years, but Spyro 1 through 3. Tom Kenny did the voice of Spyro, I think, in 2 and 3. He didn't do it in the first game.
Way.
Yeah. No so shout out to SpongeBob. But honestly,
shout out to Mr. Show.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Ren and Stimpy also. One thing I would say is if I recommend everyone to try to get them. Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon is one of my favorite games. Spyro 1's like hilarious. Like Spyro 2 is like it's all right. Like it upgrades everything from 1, but I enjoyed the crap out of Spyro. In fact, that like when I played it and then I replayed it years later on the PSP and then I replayed it again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I will be glad to replay it for the 4th time. So
I'm surprised to hear that. They just look like aimed at the younger generation. Matt, had you played Spyros?
No, because I didn't have a PlayStation, but I did have some memories like playing Crash Bandicoot at my cousin's house because he had it, so that's kind of cool. I do want to pick up Crash. I'm not sure if I'll get on PS4 or Switch yet, but I never really got a chance to try Spyro, but man, it just looks so pretty, and I kind of want to play it, even though I was like, I never really thought I'd like end up playing them before. I don't know.
Right.
They just
That's
like
I mean, obviously
simple,
you could play them via emulator now. You know what I mean? I'll give you rights. I'll let you borrow mine, technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it won't seem like we're pirates
online.
But no, I mean, one thing. So where Crash and Spyro used to work together back in the day too. Not they were like, oh, we're teaming up. Like, it's not that. It's more of every Crash game that would come out, there'd be a demo for the Spyro game in it. So it'd be the next Spyro game. So like Spyro, Crash 3 had a demo for Spyro 3. Spyro 3 had a demo for like Crash Bash and all that. You know what I mean? So like it had each other's games. So Insomniac and Naughty Dog used to work together, and they helped make the games like that. But where Crash is a platformer, Spyro is an adventure game with platforming aspects. So like you go to an open world, you have a bit of a collectathon, you have some missions to do. And then you also have the hub world, which, obviously as you play along the game, you unlock more stuff, you get more things, you get to go back. You don't necessarily learn as many things in Spyro as much as each level has their own unique quirk. You'll learn maybe one thing, but it's not like, it's not Donkey Kong where you're going to come back with the level 3 slam. It's going to be like, okay, like the level gives you everything you have to complete it in that one go. So you don't have to be like, Banjo-Kazooie makes me go back. Nah, this game, you could beat it. You could beat each world your first go. More than likely.
Okay. Interesting. If the price is right, I could consider it. I would say, like, knowing you and your tastes and kind of observing and listening to what you like, you have a bigger interest / retro fondness for that kind of game than I do. Like, I like some of them, but it's harder to get me to like turn on to it, I would say, like a 3D kind of adventure style game like this, and the fact that it always struck me, it looked a little kiddie. I mean, I'm just like, I'm interested because I've heard you before mention you were a Spyro fan, and that you're that excited. That
it's definitely a kiddie style. It's got like that young humor with it, where it's like, oh, you're a dope, haha, kind of thing.
Yeah, right,
but
right.
The thing is though, like that doesn't matter to me because I just enjoy the crap out of like solving some of the puzzles in there, or just like collecting some stuff that's like, how do I get that? It is right in front of me, yet I can't glide there, or like am I missing something from it? And that game had so much of that sense of like relief. Spyro 3 just adds everything more, and there's also like extra mini game on the side. You get to play as other characters. But Spyro 1 and 2 is just like you'll be like looking at a treasure chest at a faraway island, or you'll have 95 out of 100 gems, and you're like, I searched everywhere. Where the hell could these be? And it'll be like a sick camera trick that you'll have to find, and you're like, oh my god, I would have never thought about that. You know what I mean? Like it's just like clever like that, and that's what I really enjoyed about those games. So, I mean, I am a bit biased towards like 3D. I had to live with those, I had to live a few years. 3D adventure games were out. 3D platformers were gone, man. For like 8 years, from like 06 to like 2012, man. Nobody liked that anymore. But it's not Donkey Kong. You're not gonna spend 40 hours collecting and not have 100%. Like you could get through the game in like 5 to 10 hours. You know what I mean?
And all three are coming in one package for Switch, correct? It's it's a one buy.
Well, we don't know for Switch, but Crash obviously they're doing all three. But if you buy if Spyro is coming to Switch, that it is all 3 in one. So
all right.
That's But I mean, you said you were gonna get into Crash, so maybe that might spice up your PS1.
I might. I'm not saying.
When's the birthday? Don't worry about it, buddy. We got you. All right. So you're guaranteed to play it no matter what. All right.
I literally just heard someone like crapping on Crash today on another podcast that I was listening to.
Hell no, bro. Hell no.
Running into the camera stuff, and they were like making fun of it, And I was like, my friends say that they like this game, and here I hear more downvotes for Crash, but like I'll check it out when it comes around. I'll watch some videos and give it a thought.
Don't worry, when I find your birthday, you'll be getting that Crash.
I'm a leap year baby.
Oh, it's all right. Well, we got 2 years for that. All right.
We'll see. I'm getting worried with this like release schedule.
I just noticed something. Crash Bandicoot comes out July 10th. And E3 starts. Oh wait, no, that says July. Never mind.
E3.
I was gonna say, oh, maybe I'll get it when I go to E3. But wait, this is a month later, dingus.
You're not taking your Switch to E3, bro. Thieves, bro. Do not.
Yeah. Oh, Matt, you're gonna see everyone with your Switch, and they're gonna steal your one Switch.
Yeah, they can have. You know how many uses you can have for another Switch?
Yeah, there's gonna be one of those guys with the raincoats, like, "Hey man, you want one of these Switches, like the watches back in the cartoon days?" And you're like, "Gosh, come on, man."
Yeah. Matt, don't kid us. Don't tease us like that. That you're going to take your Switch out of the house. The golden goose must remain protected.
Yeah, it's fused with your dock. All right, come on, we all know.
That would be so funny if like you left your Switch in the dock so long it fused together. It just like
they're like, all right, well, now it's a home console. Yo, on a side note of that, Matt, is this in your news? Because third-party docks are causing bricks on Switches.
Yeah,
it was. I don't think it was a dock. I think it was, or was it a dock?
I think it was a dock.
Yeah, it's like a third-party dock. Like,
okay,
guys,
third-party
just buy another dock. It's not that expensive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like $40-$50, and most of the time, like, I'll be like, all right, I don't really care if you get a Hyperkin controller, but if it has something to do regarding to your system, obviously get something Nintendo brand. Don't get something like, yo, you know what? Like, I'm totally gonna get this legitimate, third-party Joy-Con.
A battery knockoff that you put inside your Switch. Yeah, don't do that. Like, yeah, don't.
Like, anything that goes inside or has to do with the main system, that's cool. You can get a third-party Pro controller. Nobody cares about that. It's not really gonna affect it. But like, don't do stuff that messes with the system.
Yeah, it's a shame because that sounds like a real burner, like for people that bought that, because it sounds like it's canceling the systems, and there's no way Nintendo's going to refund your money on that. Like, there's just no way. Like, that you guarantee that.
Yeah, I don't think it's warranty covered either.
Yeah, that is guaranteed. It's like you use non-approved equipment with your system. Like, the end. Like, we don't have to give you your money back. I bet you any money. I'm only thinking about this because I tried to get my 3DS repaired, and they offered me all these deals. It was like they were genuinely trying to be nice. Like, they were like, well, my 3DS stopped reading regular DS cartridges, and they over the phone could not troubleshoot that. They were like, that is mysterious. Like, it won't read 2DS regular cartridges, DS cartridges, but it will read 3DS. And they were like, well, it's going to cost $80 for us to look at it, period. I'm sorry to tell you, it's going to cost $80. It's not under warranty anymore. But if it doesn't work, we'll let you take that $80 and put it toward the cost of buying either a 2DS or the new 3DS from us. Like,
oh, that's cool. That's fair. That's fair. I didn't know they would instead of charging you once, they let you.
It was a nice gesture. I don't know if it's like a permanent deal they're offering everyone, but the guy was like searching around. He's like, this is mysterious. It sounds like I said he kind of agreed, though he had no data on it. He was like looking for a while, and he's like, I said, I think it must have happened because of one of the updates or something. Like my resolution just doesn't work anymore. It can't load the DS games. It always just crashes when you try to load a DS game. And I think it's probably the only thing I can think of is resolution switching. But and
I think they have to make sure you didn't use like an R4, and they'd be like, oh, and you also said the DS reader is not under the not under the warranty anymore.
Yeah, and he was explicit about that. He's like, just to let you know, if we get it in here and it's modded anyway, of course all that's gone. I'm like, oh, it's not. It's definitely legit in every way. There's nothing weird about the system that I have to worry about. So thank you for warning me, but it's all good, And he was just like, but that was a nice gesture. So I'm wondering if, like, with those bricked, what do you call it, docks or docks that are bricking systems or whatever's happening, I'm wondering if they'll try to be nice about it like that and be like, well, we'll kick you down some of the cost of the repair, or something like that. Like just give you a little bit, because that really blows,
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, dude, like when I did the deeds to my PSP, I knew, like, I bricked it a few times, actually. I've had to fix it myself, but it was like, I'm like, oh shit, like, I'm done. Like, I can't send it. I have to get a new one or fix this myself. It's my own problem. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta really, like, warranties are warranties for a reason, but it's like, you can't just do it whatever you want with them, all right? So
yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, it's understandable. So I'm hoping for those people, maybe Nintendo tries to, like, meet them halfway on something like that if they figure out how to fix it. Like,
be like, all right, well, we'll give you we'll fix it for you for 100 rather than you spending another 250 on a new one. You know what I mean? Like, that would be fair, because
hopefully
they didn't know. You know what I mean? So it's not really their fault, but at the same time, it's like you could have just this could have been avoided if you just got our stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but that is definitely news circulating the internet. So I was really wiping my brow, being glad that, like, I didn't buy another dock, because I thought about it and I was like, that would be nice. Then I could just, like, move around the house, faster. But whatever.
I would say, as a suggestion to people, just buy another, buy an HDMI cable and buy the power cord separately, because the power cord is, I think, like $40, and an HDMI cable you can get for like $5. So rather than spend $100+ on like the whole thing, it's like really all you need to do is unplug the stuff in the back and then replug it into somewhere else. It's not that much more inconvenient than like carrying it, and I'm also a cheap bastard, so like that's that's what I would say is the solution.
No, that's a great tip. It's I'm lazier. I'm not. I haven't gone that route, but like I do have I've put an extra HDMI cable on each TV for it. So I just have to bring the power and the dock. You know, I don't have to bring the other that even, and that's only a $3, $4 cord if you get it off eBay or something. So yeah, that's kind of my solution. Like I've just invested in a couple extra HDMI cables to keep around, and then I have one in my like backpack. So when I travel places, I don't have to remember to bring it. You know, it's just like, okay, I got the HDMI cable. All I need is the dock and the power. Bang, I'm ready to go. So good tip. Yeah, totally. Anyway, what else is in the news? Yeah, it's been kind of quiet on the news front. Tons and tons of shovelware and games dumping onto the system. But like in terms of genuine news, like what's newsworthy these days, man?
Just dumping them.
So the Animal Crossing website has been spazzing out apparently. There have been like several sections of the website that have just been replaced with like placeholder text. The 3DS website is like really basic for some reason, like as if someone just tried to start up making a new website and sell placeholder crap. So people are like really wondering, like, did someone just fail at doing like maintenance, which kind of doesn't seem, or are they just trying to prepare the website for, you know, an Animal Crossing announcement at some point?
Something else.
And then someone else, I suggest following Leak Review on Twitter, because he, I don't know if it's the person's a he or a she, but the person regardless is like going over leaks, and it's at least interesting to watch or read, mind you. But this, I'll just say he, because it's just easier to say, but he added like the Smash Bros. Trademarked. he said the Smash Bros. Smash Brothers was trademarked 4 months before it was revealed in March, and Animal Crossing was apparently trademarked in January, and about 4 months later is E3. So he's also bringing up like, oh, you know, maybe they trademarked an Animal Crossing game for it to become
Animal Crossing is coming at E3 is what the speculation would be,
right?
Yeah,
basically.
Right.
Hey, I mean that's not a bad idea. Trust me. When Animal Crossing, what is it called on the 3DS? City something. When that came, you don't understand. I was in college. I'm still in college. But
7 years later, you're still in college.
Yeah, yeah, and like, dude, everyone in this club, the game club I went to go join, was having it. It's like, yo, add me on this. Look at this. Like, people were like, oh, I can't wait to get my Animal Crossing 3DS. There's like a lot of girls too, and it was just like everybody was getting it. And I was like, wow, this game's popular. I hate this game. But yeah,
I remember how popular.
Maybe that's why Mike likes Mighty Number 9, because everyone hates it.
Yeah, that's the real reason. All right. But on a real note, a lot of 3DSs were sold when Animal Crossing came out.
I was on part of a Yahoo group years ago, even before, probably predating or parallel to when we were all my IGNers big time. But there was a Yahoo group that was devoted to Wii fandom that had, you know, lots of members, like several hundred members that I was a part of, and I was blown away. I don't know which one was on the Wii. Was it on Wii? It was on Wii, right? Animal Crossing was on Wii, right?
Yeah, it was. It was City Folk.
I thought. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were like nuts for it. Like and these were full adults. Like I was like, am I the only person here? Kind of like when you guys go Pokemon mental, you know, and like start like speaking in gibberish, you know, like about Pokemon names and stuff.
Pokemons, man.
Yeah. They're like talking about bells and like all that shit, like all the time, and about what's up for trades and all this stuff. And like I still have a few people in my Switch friend list that are from that group, and whenever they pop up playing something, I always think like, I just think of them as Animal Crossing players in my head, because I only know them from that message board like vaguely, and it's like it was the main conversational topic. Like, and I was always sitting there being like, I wish these fucking adults liked some adult games, you know,
you look over your shoulder while playing Mario Party.
Yeah.
Like I wish these adults would
that's
play
me,
something.
all right. I'm like, what a bunch of losers, all right. And I go back to Final Fantasy World, all right.
I know. I'm like, why don't they want to talk about Yoshi's Island over here? Come on, guys.
Like, come on, guys. At least my game has an end game, all right.
Yeah. No, but it always struck me, you know, it was just geez, they really like this game. Like they are really into it. And I don't even know that the Wii one was highly regarded or not. I have no idea if it was a good one. Like, it was like, they were just gung-ho, like nonstop chatting about it. Like what's up for the bells or what's up for the trades, or I don't even know. I would just click past the messages because it was too much for the outsider. You know, it was like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, you know, but, yeah, cool stuff. I mean, Matt, are you an Animal Crossing player? I think you've said no in the past.
That would be correct.
Are you not?
Matt has a brain. How dare you?
But you are, Mike. You're gonna be excited if E3 is an Animal Crossing Switch, like the big Switch is coming.
Yeah. Oh, yo, here's Animal Crossing Switch and some Labo. I'll be like, oh boy, what's next, Miyamoto, the great god? Oh man, your creative genius since 18 years ago, which is faded. Oh my God. It's back.
Heresy alert.
They be like, only true Nintendo fans. I'm like, oh, I'm true. I'll tell you the truth right now. All right, they're gonna let me into that.
But so this is your way of saying yes, you will be excited for a new. Oh
yeah, clearly it's on my number one to play to get list or whatever it is. So yeah. I mean, screw that. I mean, what's next for me on that? I mean, what other series do I like from Nintendo that they spit out? Oh, some Fire Emblem crap. Yeah, that's what we need. We need more of that too. All right?
Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, good. Animal Fire Emblem Crossing. Just kill me now, okay?
Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm confused, but fair.
All right, but what would actually make me flip my shit would be an actual 3D World Pokemon game. I've given up on Pokemon. I have not felt any love for it since Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And granted, that was a remake of my favorite gens, but if they can remake the formula, I will
remake the formula. They haven't strayed from the formula.
That's what I'm saying. It's so boring. All right, like the only thing that can get me excited, that and an actual single player to Smash. I don't care about Smash anymore, but I just care about I can play the game alone. You know what I mean? Like, at least I can play Brawl and Melee alone and 64 alone. You can't play Smash 4 alone. It's barren, dude. It is a barren wasteland. So I need that joy back. I need my board the platforms and break the targets in my subspace. All right? You don't have to make a subspace again. But
I'm sympathetic to what Mike's saying. I mean, all of us are like, you guys are younger than me, but you're getting to that point where you've been playing Nintendo many years, and that was what I've been saying for. I mean, Mike, and we know Mike isn't a big fan of Breath of the Wild, but you guys, I've known you guys long enough to hear me rant on that. I still say, if you put a gun to my head, that Legend of Zelda 1 is my favorite game of all time, gun to the head kind of thing. Okay, yeah, Zelda 1 on NES, greatest game ever. Period. Invented one of the greatest franchises. Fine, whatever. That's my personal view. I know it's not everyone's favorite pick, but it's that's what I've been saying for years. And I'm tired of Gorons. I'm tired of freaking the water people. I'm just tired of it.
Zoras, you racist.
I know. I never remember. No, I can never remember their names. I'm still getting.
But they're in Link to the Past, man. But they look. Completely...
I know. But I mean, it's I just needed the series to get this kick in the ass reboot. That's not more Ocarina love fest, where I'm
but
I
Breath
love
of the Wild
Ocarina.
has so many characters. That seems like the kind of the opposite. I get how Breath of the Wild is advanced number one, and they had the demo that was Breath of the Wild 8-bit, which I wish we could all play because that looks amazing because it just seems badass. But Breath of the Wild is all about character interactions in these barren worlds, and I just don't like that there's no direction.
We can agree to we've beat that into the ground in death, and I can feel Matt wincing right there in the producer background. We've covered this before.
The guy behind camera is like, "Oh God, make him stop!"
Yeah, right, here they go. But it's the mechanics. They rebooted the mechanics of the series, and yes, the Gorons are still there, And yes, the Zoras. See, I remembered.
But I can jump without a rock's feather. That's a damn dirty lie, all right?
Link doesn't have legs. He shouldn't be able to jump.
Only a rock's cape and a rock's feather can make my boy jump. And it has to be from a top-down perspective.
Purity test. Purity test. He jumps without those things. I get it. It's probably all a dream. It's probably all a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Mario woke up from his bed, and then I saw freaking Breath of the Wild. I was like, I've seen this before.
I see it. But I mean, still, I love that dream. And like, I needed that. And so I feel that when you say Pokemon, because when I look at Pokemon, that's how I feel as an outsider. I don't play it. And I think, this is like, I mean, I don't love RPGs to begin with because I feel like that about RPGs in general. I'm like, it's the same thing over and over again for hours. I mean, just like 50 hours, and they call it a small RPG, you know? What's that?
Said, yeah, but there's different numbers.
But I mean, yeah, I'd want to see that for you guys. That's why a few episodes ago, I was like trying to kind of kick you guys and like saying, what would you want them to do? And it's really hard to imagine the thing you don't know yet, but it's like, heck yeah. Like I will be excited for you guys if they walk in there and they're like, Pokemon, whatever you guys expect it to be called, Pokemon, like your mom.
Legend.
And like,
your mom.
Yeah.
Your
mom.
That's
Pokemon
OD.
mom and dad.
He only has a mom, dude. You never see, he doesn't have a dad.
So there you go. So Pokemon, your mom, parentheses, your dad, and all you guys' heads explode, you know, and you're like, his dad's gonna be in it. Holy shit! So you know, like I'd want that. I would be excited. I mean, like, it's almost like to the level of like I could say at that point, give me a reason to play it. Like, don't like just show me a screen where you're gonna have like a Pokemon that looks like a cat up in the right hand corner, and then a guy that's got a ball in his hand and a baseball cap in the bottom left, and some numbers and a menu. And I'm like, give me a reason that I want to play this, because I get it. I know what that's gonna be like, even if I've never even played it. It's gonna be like, you know, try to do the triangle of like figure out like what it's weak against and, you know, all that stuff. And it's like, I'm already bored thinking about it, and I've never played them. You know, I'm like,
well, that's because Pokemon is our RPS, rock, paper, scissors, to the core. Like, it's different from, like, Matt, you've played classic Final Fantasy, so you understand. It's like, well, did you know that Cure works against undead? No, but guess what? Now you have this kind of aspect to it. But then Final Fantasy is deeper than just rock, paper, scissors. It's not just, I'm just going to holy every undead character. I'm going to do fire against every grass. I can also use bow and arrow versus this character, and it works just as well, or it's not as good as sword, where Pokemon doesn't have that. And because you played a better RPG first, when you go to Pokemon, you take a step back, actually. And it's like, wow, this sucks. You know, that's the way I look at it from you, because, and that's probably the same way for me. Like, granted, I was a kid when Pokemon came out, so I have that general, you know, that sense of appeal, or I don't know, something when you're younger and something's more attractive to you.
You got the nostalgia.
Yeah.
You got the nostalgia.
And like I said, nothing can beat the old ones for me. And when they remade the old ones and they made it better, I was like, wow, this is great. But still, when I go to play a newer one, I'm like, this is just boring. Like, it's not easy. It's not that it's too easy. It's just, it's empty, dude. Like, there's
it's
nothing.
The same thing again. It's the same thing again and again. And that's been the critique against Nintendo for years from non-Nintendo players. They're like, why would I want to keep playing the same games reiterated again and again and again? And that's a fair thing. And you guys heard me saying that.
It isn't. It isn't. Because, like, a lot of Nintendo's games are like, oh, you know, people be like, oh, man, this Mario thing again. It's like, yeah, but it's not even the same thing as the other one. Right. You're just saying that because there's a face on it. So,
but yeah, Matt,
there are
right.
some criticisms, but it's also like, okay, you're just being a troll for the sake of being a troll.
Right.
100%. 100%. Now, what I want to say is, because Matt, I think Matt, you made my brain tick, and you said it like perfectly. Now, you look at the internet today, and it's gonna be like, oh, let me guess, Nintendo comes with another system and another Mario game, and we all buy it. It's like, bitch, do you not understand that this Mario game is completely different, you idiot? You know what I mean? Like, just because you saw a photo of him running around in 3D, it's like, you put Odyssey and 64 side by side, it is not close. They're not the same game at all. And I hold both to, like, the highest regard you could hold for a game. All right? And it's just like, they're uncomparable. They're only comparable because they have the name Mario in it. And you look at it in the other aspect, we were talking about Pokemon. Pokemon is the same thing all the time, Matt. Like, yes, they add a few little things, but it's not enough to change the game. Now, if you look at Final Fantasy, yes, that's the same game all the time. But in reality, no, it's not. All right, like every story is actually different. Every character.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It has like an actual whatever. Granted, I haven't played them, but they have like an actual story to them. Pokemon hasn't.
Right.
And it's always like the end of the world kind of thing.
Different.
And
yeah,
Pokemon has only like changed a little bit, like as it's gone like several generations in, but it's still mostly just like the world is gonna explode or something. Here's an evil team. Go
and I'm gonna use this legendary Pokemon, and I'm gonna have these thugs do it while you also become the best trainer. But it's like, but Final Fantasy, yes, most of the time it has to do with end of the world, but every game is uniquely different. All right, yes, you attack, defend, and you equip items, but you don't do it the same in any game. I have to take my time when I play a Final Fantasy game and learn it. All right, I can't just pick up. I can't just go from 9 or to 6 and to 13 to 7 and be like, well, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, the core concept's the same, but the game's completely different. Ultima is completely different from Materia. Like, that's 7 versus 9. That's how you use ultimates and you equip items. Like, when I first played 7, I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand this game. I had to take my time and learn it. Then I played 9. I was like, I played a Final Fantasy before. I was like, I don't get it. Okay, again. And I had to learn that game. And then the best part about it is mastering the game, because I had to replay. I beat Final Fantasy 9 about like 5 times already, and that's a 70-hour RPG. All right, without doing anything. All right, it's a 4-disc game. Anyway, I didn't understand the game until halfway my 3rd playthrough. I was like, holy shit, that's what this does. This game's even better than I thought it was, And that's why it's like one of my favorite games like ever, and that has nothing to do with this, but it was like, wow, a game can grow on you even years later. And I right now I've been trying to do that again with Mario 64. I think that game's just great no matter how you play it. I was like, you know what? I want to try this in the speedrunning aspect now. And I was like, this is even cooler than I thought it was. I can't do all the tricks, but it was like, I enjoy playing this game casually, and I enjoy learning new shit or how to do stuff in that game. And I think that's what also makes it like games like that masterpieces or not stale. So
right. Well, good stuff. So anyway, with Matt, to sum up the news bulletin, you suspect that Animal Crossing is coming to E3.
I'd say it's likely. Apparently the game, though, I forget, I had New Leaf up here. That was the 3DS one. That one came out in 2012, so it will have been 6 years by November this year. So I think it's pretty, there was also... I don't know if it was a rumor or whatever. People were suspecting that a new game would come out around the time the mobile app would, because Nintendo said they were going to connect at some point. So I mean, like a year later, I think that's fair enough. I mean, whatever. Yeah. I think it's been enough time since the last one, and
it's one of the core franchises.
Yeah, they have a dedicated team on making them, so it's just a matter of when rather than if. And I think now as E3 is probably or whatever around E3 before whatever they're gonna do. I think it's totally gonna be revealed this year for sure.
Totally makes sense. It's one of the core Nintendo franchises. It probably takes a little bit less development effort than some other games because of the arcade aspect, and the balancing, so to speak, of the arcade interaction isn't nearly as hard. So they could get that out this year if they wanted to, if especially when they're putting all the big guns on something like Smash, or whatever, to get that out the door. Smash and Metroid probably have significant resources dedicated to them. Then it's really good because they got that series sitting right there, and it's from a programming standpoint isn't going to be as onerous. It's more the writing and the design than it is the programming and the arcadey aspect of it. So I wouldn't be surprised. I won't be pumped, but it's like Pokemon when I was saying, it's like, give me a reason and I'd give it a chance. That's a genuine statement. It is not. Collectathons and sim games just are so boring to me in a general sense. But if you could just give me a reason to want to play it, maybe tweak the system, this is the era of Nintendo doing it for the first time in a long time. So I'm not counting anything out anymore, where I'm like, if you can revamp Zelda, and if you can just not quite revamp Mario, but knock it out of the park with yet another greatest all-time Mario game, then my faith is restored completely for like, maybe you could sell me to play Pokemon, maybe you could sell me to play Animal Crossing, like where I would have some reason to care, like where it's like, other than the fact that it's chibi and it's real cute and all that stuff, and I love Nintendo for that stuff, but my heart is where the new stuff is, or where like the new iterations are. A lot of times for them, Labo is more exciting to me than like an iteration of something super familiar, where I'm like, okay, well, cool, like whatever, another Animal Crossing game. I'd rather build a cardboard piano, and that's 100% non-ironic serious. It's like so.
Plus, we don't know too much that's coming out the rest of this year anyway. I think Fire Emblem is sometime at the end of the year. Smash, obviously, and I think that's about it. So I'm sure there's bound to be something.
I hear they might add more stuff to Odyssey. I heard that's a little rumor. Like they might maybe add more costumes or some stuff like that. But
costumes,
obviously it's not guaranteed. But it would be a little smart. Like, hey, we added this. Like, I don't expect the whole new, entire planet. But I do expect like a little bit of like, here's some costumes, here's some this, that, and that.
No, maybe another mode or something.
Yeah.
They should do DLC, and they should do a whole nother planet, a whole nother world. Like they should. I hope they're considering it, because the game is a smash hit, and for people like me who haven't bought it yet, like the Nintendo is making a habit of supporting their games right now, like with some DLC, with some continued support. Even games that aren't that great, like ARMS, they've put their foot in the ring and said, we support our games. Like the AAA top shelf stuff. We don't just drop it in the water and let it sink or swim. We're even going to give time to the people that shelled out the money for ARMS and are enjoying it. We're going to give time to you. We're going to try and make you happy. And for the games that are big hits, it's on the table that we're going to keep supporting it. Splatoon being the obvious example. Zelda's done from all appearances, but Zelda got hefty content and is a hefty, enormous, one of the biggest Nintendo games ever. In terms of size and scope, so it's like, it's not like they have to do a heck of a lot there, and the DLC, was hit or miss, like you guys reported on, for that. But I mean, I would think it would be almost odd if Odyssey didn't get some extra content, and I would bet, I don't want to over guess or set my expectations too high, but I would think something more than costumes. Like, it's just such a big game, like, and the goodwill they can farm from a moment like that, where it's like, you already own the $60 game, and then we're going to drop, maybe $20 worth of DLC that includes like 2 new worlds, or I don't even know, another mode, like you were saying, something we can't quite imagine, like another mode, maybe a 2-player mode or something like into the game, like for some sort of aspect.
Well, to give some reference, for Mario Kart 8, the game launched in May 2014. Well, this all takes place the same year, so I'll just go by month. But it launched in the end of May. DLC was announced in like August, and then the first pack released in November. So let's say 6-7 months later. I think they could probably do that with Odyssey. Announce it at E3, comes in the fall. Also, it seems kind of weird that, okay, so for Splatoon, I get like having free DLC, like content updates, because it's an online game. You want people to stay interested because they're all interacting with each other. You have to kind of facilitate this, not tournament, but you know what I'm talking about.
It's just the expectation with shooters.
But this community, I guess. But with a single player game like Odyssey, it's like, what is the incentive to
go back
putting in costumes? Like, you get people talking about it a bit for sure, but I mean, I don't think someone's gonna. Well, I guess you could say like, oh, the costume reminded me the game exists, and now I might pick it up. But it seems more likely that they would do that to keep not just in people's minds, but because they're like gonna lead up to something. Like, the balloon mode is a little something, but it's something nonetheless. And then, if you keep costumes are easy to make, if you kept, trickling out costumes for a couple of months and be like, hey, at E3 we have the actual content coming. It's like, oh, okay. This is interesting.
Costumes like, don't keep a game alive. You would need like a whole 2 new planets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, why bother even adding costumes to a single player game where there's very little benefit, I should say, to giving free content for something like that, because you don't have to have people like connected and continue playing. And also it's like free, so it's like
and it's free.
You have to be. I would think you're leading up to something. Like,
yeah,
why else do
plus,
it, right?
Plus, like this Splatoon, the big head turn just weeks ago is that Splatoon's getting more single player content. That's the big head turn, because that game is already 2 players getting tons of free content, and now they're saying no problem.
Yeah, and it lives on from multiplayer. But see, that's smart though. The game's alive because of multiplayer. Right. And now they added, they've added a new way, more to play per se. Like, what if you beat everything and you're like, I'm tired of multiplayer. And now you can play, this game in a new type of way, et cetera, et cetera.
So to build on what you're saying, the smartest move, although this is getting a little too much to expect, like this is getting into the, like, now we're getting wishful thinking, like the smart thing to do to exactly build on what you're saying is Splatoon is a game where it's competitive multiplayer. That's all this free content. And then they make you pay to get some more single player. They flipped that on its head for Odyssey. And then the obvious thing is give Odyssey some kind of multiplayer. Like, that's too big an ask. I don't think that's a real thing. But
I don't think multiplayer works in 3D platforms. Like, yes, Mario 3D World's a great game, but that's not a true 3D platformer. That's a, it's a level that's based 3D style, but it's still an end game. You can't just go, I'm gonna go hit the back of New Donk City while you go to the front, and we'll get these moons at the same time. Like, you can't do that.
Right. Maybe some other creative means where there's competitive, like, leaderboards for speed running or something.
That's what
like
the
where
balloon
you give
mode is, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, you know what? Here's a good example. Some old. It might not work. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles had a multiplayer mode, and you're like, how can that happen? Because obviously you could play as Tails for second player, but he was like invincible for like your younger brother being second player. But they had a race mode, and you would play the levels of the game while racing and all that. But the thing is, like, what's really cool about it, right? Is that
Sonic.
Yeah, it's based off. Yeah, of course, Sonic's cool. No. But what's really cool about it is it's based off the single player the first player levels and all that, and it adds an aspect where it's not really, we're doing this just to do it. Like, you're still playing the game, and it still incorporates speed, which is Sonic's most important thing. And Mario Odyssey kind of had that vibe of like, it's all about going fast. So why not? You know what I mean? Like, why don't they kind of do that, like, condensed versions of each level where it's just a race for the moon at the end? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Maybe.
So,
or there's
a million unique ways to get a moon in that game. So why, like, you know what I mean? Just add it, like, get the moon at the end of this level or something like that, and then boom.
Yeah.
Like,
or the first one to reach X amount of moons, and they like hide them in different spots.
Yeah. See, like, something like that would be pretty cool.
Or this is gonna sound dumb, but not hide and seek, like a tag mode. So there's, let's say, 10 people in the world, and you have to like tag them, because it's all about like running and like vaulting and whatnot.
See, there you go.
I don't think they would actually do multiplayer, but
but it's interesting because we're not game designers, but we can kick around ideas here that are all the kind of things that if you're in the board meeting at Nintendo HQ for design and you're like, what can we do? Like, what should we do? This game is a smash hit, and it's getting out there. And DLC is selling well for all these other properties we've put out, and the excitement remains high for our DLC because we have learned the lesson from other companies. The key is to not make it look like the DLC was planned ahead of time and just cut out. It's to actually let the game breathe, and then a little later, like, come out with some new idea that you didn't see coming, where you're like, we're going to expand, or we're going to keep and we're going to give you lots of free stuff on top of it. We're going to give you balloon mode for free to keep the goodwill there, where it's not like we're just nickel and diming you at every turn, like, to get more out of this game. And we're just regular dudes kicking around ideas, but we all came up with some fairly interesting ideas that, like, any of these, if they announce it tomorrow, none of us are gonna be pissed. If it's like, we got hide and seek mode in Odyssey coming this Christmas. It's like, play with your friends across the country when the paid online service launches. One of the first things you'll be able to do is play Odyssey with your friends, across the country, or, jump in and do that mode, like you're saying. I mean, one of my favorite things that you made me think with a hide and seek it's a little different. It's kind of building off what Mike was saying too. Is one of my favorite things about I always get the name confused. The name of Mario on Wii U, the 3D Mario
3D World.
3D World is the whole fighting over the crown thing. That was
I
ingenious.
love that. Yeah.
It was so much
it
fun.
Means
And
nothing. It literally means nothing. And it's like, I want it.
I want it, and I'm gonna deck you, and we're gonna all race to the end, and then try to like right there at the flagpole have this like battle royale. We're all like trying to be the last one holding the crown, you know. And it's like that was so much fun. It's such an underappreciated thing. I don't, maybe not. Like I think everybody really liked it that bothered to play that game with like multiplayer or whatever. And it's like that kind of thing. If you just drop something simple in it like that, now that would be a tectonic change because Odyssey wasn't designed to be played that way with multiple characters. But just saying, you know, like little things like that you can put into a 3D adventure game, you know, action platformer or whatever you want to call it, like just could breathe new life into it. I mean, but again, I started by saying, I end by saying, like, I think it's a big ask. I don't realistically expect it, but given Nintendo's commitment to DLC lately, it would seem odd if there wasn't eventually. It wouldn't seem odd, but it would be an omission. You know,
I think
if there wasn't something for
weird.
Odyssey.
I think it would be weird just because they're like actually supporting it. So I mean, like I'm not whatever. I'm sure there's also a part of them where they like want to make stuff for fun, but I also feel it would be like really weird to be like, yep, we're gonna make free content and then just not do anything and just let it like die off. It's like, well, I mean, you could easily build up to something. Like you have people's attention. I mean, just with the game, and you have, you know, not as many people's attention, but still people's attention with costumes. So people are still playing it for a reason. Why not get them to to buy in? I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be like a ton of worlds, but like one or maybe two.
Yeah, it's free money. It's like this game is sold,
much.
You know, some million copies. Like who knows? I don't know what the numbers are now, but very well at all reports. You know, and it's like you've got a build and install of like even 25% of the people buy the DLC. Kablowie, you know, that's like selling a whole new game basically, like on some level, you know, like an okay selling game, like, you know, just to sell DLC for the game everyone already has. So, you know, that's, you know, otherwise it would be a missed opportunity. The only question is like, at what point is Nintendo stretched too thin? You know, because like there's a lot in the works for big stuff, like not a lot, but like some of their biggest properties are on deck, you know, that it's like, okay, well, you know, I have trouble believing Smash is coming this year. The 2018 thing makes me like, I'm still a god.
I mean, it makes me LA giggle, but I can see it also for I can see it for that Black Friday rush. That's the other thing.
I just have trouble. It's the game that if you made me bet, I'm like, that game gets pushed. I haven't been a big guy being like, Nintendo's going to delay stuff for years. I haven't been that guy calling that stuff out, but I'd be like, that is fucking ambitious. Excuse the swear. Like,
yeah,
you know,
no, it really is. I mean, unless they were planning this from the day, what was the Switch's regular name? Like Mega Man X or something? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and like, unless they were planning it since they said the NX, I can agree with you on that one, Clay. Like, yeah, it's a nice read.
We all know it's a port, so.
Yeah, of course,
right.
It's a port.
Funny enough, I had someone comment on YouTube. I forget how I first replied to the person, but they're like, "Oh, Sakurai never said he was developing this game for the past 2 years. Where'd you get that from?" Blah blah blah. And I like went through my like sources because I remember all the different like, not monuments, but like markers in the point of history. I'm like, let me give you a breakdown. Well, first of all, like this is when the DLC ended. This is when he said he's taking a break, and then like he's back.
And this is when he said there would never be a gun in Smash Brothers, and look where we are.
Yeah, he's like here. He said, I'm like here. He said when he took a breather and his next project was planned, and when he started his next project, and that he's buying a figure for his project, and now he announced his project, and he first started it like 2.5 years ago.
Bro, he's an artist. That's the thing. Like, you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be like, oh, I'm done after this work, or I'm too tired, and then he'll see someone do art, and he'll be like, I gotta do that. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of vibe I get from him. Like, the kind of creative vibe I get from him.
Yep, I agree. So, well, anyway, Matt, we have derailed left and right tonight. What other news do we got? Like, to get through anything?
Wrap it up. I'll just add, since we brought up Splatoon 2 DLC, It's pretty much confirmed that it's going to come out July 13th because the German Splatoon Facebook page uploaded a banner with a date on it, and it said July 13th, and then they took it down, and I don't really see a reason to disbelieve that that's not the case, because it's not like they just random text. It was like the same like font they would use for all that crap, so...
Didn't Splatoon originally debut in July? Like, so that would make sense. Like, Splatoon 2 came out in July, I think, last year.
Yeah, I feel like
July,
it always comes out in the summer.
Yeah, it was in July.
So it makes sense. It'd be like the 1 year anniversary to like drop the DLC. That would be like perfectly Nintendo of them. Like, 1 year later, we go into the subways.
And
the
always
Matrix,
like
the Matrix Splatoon.
There's always one thing released during E3, and that's got to be the one.
Right. I can't wait for that. We've talked about it before, but I'm pumped for that. That's I've mentioned it before, but it inspired me to go back, and I'm still playing through it because I play through things so much slower than you guys. But like I keep going back and like playing a level here, a level there of Splatoon 2 campaign mode, and I just every time it's like the feeling of playing Zelda in small bites. Every time I turn it on, I'm like, this is really amazing. Like that just feeling sweeps over me. Like this is like Nintendo at their utter best, like the level design and the cleverness and the cutesiness of it. And even though it's easy, it's still just so much fun. I'm just like this is just awesome. Like to not be getting shot dead every 20 seconds and respawning.
I have a question before we go. We keep praising. When is Captain Toad's coming to the Switch? Right.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone have? I just wanted to make sure I didn't think that in my head. All right. That's actually a game I wanted to get. Yeah, but I hear the Switch is getting Odyssey level, so
it is.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they both
you didn't play it,
but...
No, I wanted to. That was a game like Mighty Number 9. That was on my list, and I was like, this looks really cool. And then time kept going on, and I was like, damn it all! I just wanted to play this game. Like I just wanted a nice, fun game.
It's beautiful.
Speaking of, so
it's super fun.
Here's the other thing: the Splatoon Squid Sisters, whatever amiibo was coming out July 13th as well, so that pretty much solidifies it. But apparently, Captain Toad is coming out July 13th as well.
Oh, nice!
So there you go.
There's a lot of summer stuff coming out. That's cool.
That's really weird that they would put those up against each other. That's odd. That seems wrong.
Captain Toad. Captain Toad is kind of an enhanced port, if you can think about it in that aspect. I mean, I know it looked beautiful before, but it's like they're adding more. And the other thing is like I don't think they're banking too much on it. Because remember, the 3DS and the Switch are coming out. So I think of it more as like maybe a compliment, or just like here's some stuff for your summer library kind of thing. So that's
probably
that gives me the inclination that we're not. That's our max for the summer. Honestly, I don't expect anything from this day onwards to get announced, and we're gonna be like, wow, that's coming. You know what I mean? Like
maybe
I don't think anything else.
August possibly.
Yeah, and like that, I still kind of doubt. You know what I mean? Like Nintendo does, if they do release stuff, it's usually the first week of September. I've also noticed that.
Yeah, like the only time I remember something in August significant was Dream Team. It was like announced at E3, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's in August." I'm like, "What the heck?"
Oh yeah, dude, that came out super fast.
It takes like several years to make, and they just announced it out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's not forget, like the 3DS has a kind of a summer lineup this summer, which is kind of you know what I mean, kind of a bit of a shock. But because remember Bowser.
The remake, right?
Bowser's Inside Story. That's it. Bowser's Inside Story is coming out. So
it's a great game if people didn't play it. It's super funny. It's hilarious. Like it's worth playing for the Nintendo canon.
Yeah, oh no, I lied. It says 2019. It's unannounced.
Oh right,
which is kind of shocking.
Yeah,
but you know what? I expect some news on that E3 because they're not doing anything different. You know what I mean? Like it's literally the same engine as Dream Team, so should be out quick.
If they will say anything.
I mean, they're gonna do probably the same thing. Add a little, They
could have announced it just to be like, "Hey, we're gonna support the 3DS for like another year," and then be like, "Yeah, we won't bother talking about it because it's like so far off." But who knows?
I don't know. I see it like what's gonna be like. Here it is at E3. It exists and it's gonna come out real soon. It's gonna be like, okay, like, all right, yeah. We figured you remake all of them, like since you put them all out there. So. And it's just like, and then they're like, just don't do Partners in Time. And it's like, don't worry, nobody knows that exists. And game's trash. All right, you know where I beat that? On the toilet.
Yeah, it's
Toilet, baby. On my younger brother's purple fat original
Toilet.
DS. On the toilet. I was like, wow, that was
purple toilet.
yeah. I was like, man, that sucked. I got that. Yeah, you know why? It was coming off a high. It was coming off Superstar Saga, and
sure,
that's a
couldn't live up.
That's a big one to live off, man. That's
it is. It's got the 1,000-year door problem. Nothing's ever going to be as good as that. Like all this paper Mario ends and begins with 1,000-year doors.
Mario 64 is way better anyway. I don't want to hear this 1,000-year
They're both comparable.
We can fight
don't get this.
Another day.
It's on the tournament. It's on the tournament list. We can fight it there, and I'm pretty sure I chose it.
Clay only knows Rock Hawk, and then the rest of that crap game erases his head. He doesn't even remember. Right?
It's not a crap game. How dare you?
Another day, another tournament. Another day, another tournament.
Yeah.
Yo, it's clearly, you know when it came out? Second. That's what it is. Second best. All right? In the podcast now. No retorts.
Oh my gosh.
No retort.
You're wrong. You can actually use your partners. All right, so I think we'll end it there.
I can't stop it.
No. You're going to switch the partners in the front. All right? No one is better than my boy Coops. Bombette is top tier. Boletta. All right? Don't make me. You can't even name all 8. All right? In your trash game.
Oh, brother.
Wow.
I didn't mean to start it, man. I'm sorry.
I love them both equally. All right, so we'll wrap it up here this week. I like how Mike got so furious for a game that's like identical to the previous game.
Yeah, they're very similar. All right, but there's no dojo in 1,000-Year Door. I'm just saying. All right. Good night, folks.
I better stop. There's the wrestling. I think the wrestling ring's cool, but anyway, let's stop it off here.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, yeah, that's right.
Rock Hawk has got it. My Hulk Hogan.
I don't need to hear about the Great Gonzalez. Now turn off this damn stream.
All right. I'll stop because I can fight forever. Okay, definite stop. We'll wrap it up. You can find me at the Manga Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Source Gaming. Mike, where can people find you?
Alright, guys, find me at Gaming Night Live or Troy FP7. I'll smell you all later. You guys know what the good games are.
And Clay, where can people find you?
I've been releasing some new videos on my Clay Gaming YouTube channel, so Google for Clay Gaming or check me out on Twitter at Clay_Switch, and you'll see me probably live streaming myself playing 1,000-Year Door there real soon.
I was literally on Clay Gaming, but I guess I'll just X out of his tab.
Check out his channel. He's playing golf on like an Atari or something. I forget what it was, but it was very, very pixelated and it looked like an Atari game. It was interesting.
Odyssey 2, my friend. Don't insult the Odyssey 2.
Clearly, I'm Mario Odyssey 2 right there.
All right.
All right, man.
So wherever listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on every platform on the internet. Hit us up with your questions, or if you're interested in being a guest either at Just Another Castle or me at the Manga Viking. So until next time, leave luck to the heavens and leave gaming to Nintendo.
Nintendo. It's for breakfast now. Nintendo. It's a cereal. Wow.